Well, new details now from a developing story on a deal to help some struggling homeowners. Under the deal now being reviewed by state governments, the nation's 5 largest mortgage lenders, seen here, would pay out as much as $25 billion. Most of that would go to reducing the principal that struggling homeowners owe on their mortgages. But the total payout is really just a drop in the bucket. And what's more, who decides who gets this help? Ed Butowsky is a wealth manager and managing partner of Chapwood Capital Investment Management. Ed, thank you for being here. So it's a $25 billion deal with the nation's 5 largest mortgage lenders to do what? What are the banks who are they paying that money to?
Yeah, and why, right? I mean, there's 17 of the 25 billion, Megan, 17 billion is going to go to pay down some of the principal to try to help these people out.
Who are underwater on their mortgages?
Underwater on the mortgages. Remember, about 11 million people, about 1 out of 4 people in this country who have homes are underwater, meaning that the value of their home is literally worth less than what they owe.
I am one of them.
And I might be. I haven't checked.
Am I getting a check?
If I'm in charge, you're going to get all the money.
But the odds are I'm not going to get a check.
Right.
You tell me, because normally when they have proposed these programs in the past where they help the underwater folks, they only are helping the folks who aren't paying their mortgages.
That's right. As a matter of fact, it gets even uglier than that, because only $20,000, okay, and I'm not saying that's a small amount, goes towards paying down the mortgages. $3 billion of that goes for helping them to refinance. And remember this, I believe the number is 5.25% is what they're going to have a refinance at. If somebody went out to the private market today and tried to refinance.
You already lost me. You already lost me.
Okay.
Step back.
Okay.
There's $25 billion. The banks are going to issue this check.
That's right.
They're going to give it to folks who they foreclosed upon inappropriately, right? That's part of it?
Allegedly inappropriately, but yes.
And then there's another check that's going to be cut for around $17 billion that's going to help people who are underwater on their mortgages?
Nope. 25 is the total. 17 billion is going to go down to help them reduce the amount that they owe on the houses, and the average check is going to be about $20,000. People are underwater on their houses, probably a little bit more than that.
How do they decide? How do they decide who's going to get help? The underwater people in the country.
Right.
How do they decide who gets the check and who doesn't?
Classic politics. We don't know yet. We absolutely don't have any idea exactly how they're going to figure that out, but somehow it's going to be figured out. It's still being, written right now, and President Obama would like to have it done before his State of the Union address. And you got to wonder.
They got 8 hours.
They got about 8 hours, and who knows if it's going to be done or not, but most likely it will be.
Should we feel good about this because it's the banks who are going to cut these checks and not the American taxpayers?
Well, that's right. But also, we're demonizing the banks again. I mean, it seems to be, every single day you turn around and the banks have done this wrong, banks have done that wrong. And the truth is, most of these people should have been foreclosed on. The problem was they might not have followed every single procedure. So what they're doing right now is just saying, hey, let's just take just wipe the slate clean, basically, and tell you that everybody did it wrong instead of going in and doing individual lawsuits on all of them. Absolutely. There's not every single person did wrong.
Because what happened, just for our viewers, just to update, a lot of people got foreclosed upon and the paperwork wasn't appropriate.
That's right.
And they had robotic signatures on the paperwork and people were saying, you can't do it that way.
Yep.
So now those people are going to get a check, and a lot of people got foreclosed upon who maybe it was a valid and legitimate foreclosure, they're going to get a check too.
So, some of them are going to, yes, they absolutely are.
And then there's the group of underwater homeowners who may or may not get a check.
Right, and there's also another part of that. $5 billion is going to be put into reserve, and they're going to be paying out $1,800 is going to be the average check. So a lot of money, it's all coming from the banks, and instead of fixing our economy, we're sitting here literally bailing out more people. The banks are paying for it now, and I don't understand, literally why this is coming about with one exception: politics.
Interesting. Ed, thank you.
Absolutely.
All the best, sir.